grilling steaks today. Quick, easy, no-fail beginner method to grill. I'm Susie Felton. Welcome to Mrs. Montana Rancher. I'm a ranch wife, a mom, an educator, and an entrepreneur. I live on a ranch with my Montana Rancher, and together we raise cattle, kids, and crops. Along with that is a big hungry crew to feed every day. My crew, my kids, my husband, and at least one extra person. Right now it's Cowboy Harm, he's out working, and sometimes through the year as we get ready for our bull sale, it can be up to 8 people at lunch every day. So I am always busy cooking and getting things ready, and today we're working on some grilling. So we're going to talk beginner methods today. Easy, no fail. If you are not familiar with the grill, I've got one behind me here going. This is a great way to get started. If you're an expert in old hand, these are probably review things for you. We're going to start with the no fail, easy beginner way, and then we'll move on to some more complicated ways. I've really been into reverse searing lately and playing with that a little bit, but today we're going to stick to the basics. So I've got a grill really hot behind me, and that's what we're going to start with. I'm using a smoker grill, but it really doesn't matter if you're on a propane grill, on a smoker grill, or in the house. You just want to get your grill hot for this method. So I've got this smoker grill cranked up in heat, just like a propane grill would be if you turned on both burners to high, medium, high, somewhere in there. And that'll get you going no matter what type of grill you're using, and that's the method we're using today. So I have ribeyes today, and I have them up here. It's not easy to get everything in the frame, so that's what's happening. So here's some ribeyes that we're going to be cooking today. These are from Felton Angus Ranch beef, and that's homegrown beef. We raised it. It was born right here. We raised it, we fed it, and we processed it here in Montana. So we know where this beef came from, right out back, and that's what we like to do here on the ranch. So a couple quick and easy grill tools if you are a beginner is just I use these trays like crazy. I have tons of them, some tongs, and the most important grilling tool ever, a thermometer. So these are ribeyes, huge ribeyes. They're pretty thick. I would say in the neighborhood of 1 inch to maybe 1.25 inches, which might be a little thicker than some of the steaks you're choosing in the supermarket, so you can adjust accordingly. We're not doing anything fancy with these. Now you can put your favorite rub on these steaks. I put something on them, but you don't have to get fancy. We're just gonna use plain old salt and pepper today. But you could use your favorite rub. You can put it on there. All of it works. We're gonna start with the basics. If you choose a really good steak to get started with, there's really no reason to do anything but salt and pepper unless you choose to, but you don't have to get crazy complicated when you're just getting started. So once again, a couple things I did with these steaks is that I brought them up to room temperature before I put them on the grill. So I've had them out of the fridge for about a half an hour, coming up to room temperature. I've got my grill super hot, so it's ready to go too. And I'm just gonna salt and pepper these steaks. Some salt and pepper, and I'll flip them over and do the same thing. So let's get salt and pepper on the other side of these, and we'll get these on, because it's gonna take a few minutes to grill them, and I wanna do that all the way through while we're on live. So we've got salt and pepper. These are liberally done. Now, the big secret here, we're grilling hot and fast. This is a tried and true no-fail method. I've used it for years. I'm playing with some more advanced stuff, but right now we're doing the basics. So my grill is hot, it's preheated. I cleaned the grill once it got hot, so it's ready to go. And we're gonna open it up. I actually have 2 of these on already, so we could get through the process in closer in time than 15-20 minutes. So anyhow, let's get this open. We're gonna put those on the grill. And as I do that, these have been on in the neighborhood of 8 minutes. I'm gonna flip these over. I've got these on. Now, when you use a smoker grill, the heat is evenly distributed. So it doesn't matter as much where you put your steaks on the grill. They're nice because you can set the the temperature. You know exactly where the temperature's at. I have this one pretty hot. It was overheating. It looks like it's cooled off, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit. So I have it about 400 degrees. You can play with your temperature. That's about where I like to keep it for hot. You can go clear up to 450, but sometimes when I do that, it really gets hot under that when I close the lid, and so I try to keep it around 400. If you're using a propane grill, you can turn both burners up to medium high, between medium high and high. You just have to be careful when you close the lid on a propane grill that you don't have any flare-ups, so you don't want those fires starting. A lot of times what I do when I cook on a propane grill is I don't necessarily close the lid for the whole time, just because I worry about those. So what I'm going to do, I want to talk a little bit about how long, and I actually brought a timer out here. I'm going to set it. So if you're a beginner grilling steaks, and especially if you're kind of a little intimidated by the grill, I taught myself to grill. I bought a book, I learned how to do it. I'm from an old ranching family in California, and my daddy liked stuff well done, and it was way well done, and I didn't really realize you could eat a steak any other way until I got to college, and I had to learn how to grill from the start. And so I taught myself to do that just by continually trying, by reading recipe books and cookbooks, and now the smoker grills are out, and so it's a whole new ball game, and we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. I have to practice all the time because I feed so many people all the time at the ranch. So we're cooking ribeyes today. They're pretty thick, so I'm going to go ahead and do those for about 7 minutes aside. If you chose a thinner piece of meat, like a thinner sirloin or a thinner New York strip, whatever type of steak you chose, you can do those anywhere between 4 to 6 minutes per side. So I put them on there. If you like the crosshatch marks, you can halfway through that move them once, so you get those pretty X's on the steaks. We're not going to worry about that today because we're on camera and it's going to make it a little too complicated, but that's how you get those. So we just put our ribeyes on. They're pretty thick and they're pretty big, and so we're going to do about 7 minutes to get us started. We could go clear up to 8 minutes aside depending on how hot your grill is, and I set a timer so we'll know. That's all there is to it. The only thing you have to be careful of is if you're using a propane grill that you're not getting some big flare-ups. But with the smoker grill, no flaring up, and I love that about the smoker grills. So let's give you a little more of an overview while we wait for those steaks to come up. I put a pan out here and brought them out, and I'm going to set that aside. And I use tongs pretty much for anything. I probably have 6 of these floating around. And here's a little secret sauce that I use with everything that I grill, everything that I roast, everything is I don't just use a cutting board like this. I always make sure I have a pan that the cutting board will fit in. And so this is a ginormous sheet pan, and this great big cutting board fits in it. And what's nice is when I pull those steaks off the grill, I can put it on this cutting board and they'll rest. We always rest everything to trap those juices inside of the meat. And it's on here, and if any juices do run out, they get caught in this tray, and it saves on tons of cleanup time. I never have a big mess in the kitchen if I'm slicing, either if it's steaks or roast, whatever's going on, everything gets trapped by this giant sheet pan, and it makes it really nice. I'm going to check our time again because I have those other steaks on. I need a few more minutes. So my big method when I use this is I use my handy dandy, the #1 most important tool that you can have when grilling or cooking any meat really is a thermometer. You can buy fancy ones. There are some that'll even text your cell phone when they hit a certain temperature. It's awesome, but I lose those and I break them, and the ones that I can always find that always work are the little regular old-fashioned thermometers, and I have these all over the place. So we'll use those today because if you're just getting started, you don't want to spend a bunch of money on all your tools. So get a few of these. They're inexpensive, they're everywhere, they work great. So I have my thermometers, and as soon as the steak that I put on first comes up, that's the secret sauce, is testing your temperature. Grilling can be really easy if you know where you want to pull your meat off and at what temperature, and depending on what type of level of doneness that your family prefers. So we like medium to medium rare on the ranch. Cowboy Harm though prefers at least medium, maybe even towards medium well, so a lot of times I'll leave his on to a higher temperature, so everybody gets the steak that they want. I do all that by taking the temperature of the steak and seeing when it's ready to pull off. And I don't check them 1,000 times. I don't open and close the lid a bunch of times. I let them in there. I let the grill do the work on each side. If you're cooking a smaller steak, maybe family-sized sirloins, 4 to 6 minutes per side is more than enough. These are huge ribeyes. And so we're going clear up to 7, 8 minutes a side, and we'll see where they're at when we turn them over. We might even, on those last steaks, go up to 10 minutes a side, depending on where they're at. There we go. I bet these are about ready to come off. They are. Okay, so let's take a look. Now remember, I put one set of steaks on before the video started, so we weren't here all day, and we just put at the beginning a set of ribeyes on with this video live. They've been on the barbecue about 7 minutes, and we're just gonna flip those over. Get those going. So those need another 7 minutes at least on that side, but we're gonna use the thermometer to take a look at the ones I put on earlier so we can test them. What I like to do, let me turn this one around, is to put it into the side of the meat. Let's see where we're at. This one is reading about, let's see if you can see this. Here we go. This one is reading about 130, which is absolutely perfect for how my husband likes his steaks. So we're gonna pull it off. It's ready to go. Now these have been on for 7 minutes a side, these two ribeyes. 7 minutes on one side, I flipped them over, 7 minutes on the other side. These we put on at the beginning of the video. They've only done 7 minutes on the first side, so they have another few minutes to go. And because I feed a bunch of people and Cowboy Harm likes his steaks more well done, I'll let these cook a little bit longer, grill a little bit longer. Now I pull these off with the intention of letting them rest. Resting your meat is the secret sauce to serving just fantastic beef, whether it's out of the oven, on the grill, however you serve it. Resting after you're done cooking it is the secret sauce. It traps all the juices inside, it distributes all the juices throughout the meat. You definitely don't want to cut into a piece of beef until you've let it rest, and that's what we're going to do. Because of when you let it rest, it comes up another 5 to 10 degrees. So we pull it off a little shy of what we would do if we were cooking it all the way to temp. So these I just pulled off at 130 degrees, and that puts them on the low side of medium rare. That's how my husband likes his steak. My kids like it a little bit more well done. Cowboy Harm definitely likes his more well done, and so I'll take theirs to 135, Cowboy Harm even into the 140s up to 145. If I'm intentionally doing meal prep, which I love to do meal prep with steaks because you can slice this into all kinds of things throughout the week, I like to cook it a little bit on the medium rare side, so if I'm heating it up again, it doesn't overcook it. But my husband likes his steak rare to medium rare, and so these are perfect. They came off at 130. I'll let them rest for 10 minutes, and they are good to go. But I wouldn't have known that had I not used that thermometer. So let's take a closer look at these so you can really see them. I pulled these off at 130 degrees. So let's get them up there. I've got some grill marks. I didn't worry about the crosshatch. You could have moved them once during that grilling process. But it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a fancy barbecue for guests, I try to get the crisscross grill marks. If I'm doing for the ranch crew and everybody's just gonna come in and gobble steaks, I don't worry about it. I do worry about the temperature because that's how I know they're done. And I use that thermometer to know where that steak is done to get it off at the right time. Otherwise, it's just a shot in the dark and you're never gonna know when they're done. So these are going to be ready in about 5 more minutes. I like to let them rest at least 5 minutes, preferably 10. You can tent them with a piece of tin foil or another dish to speed that process up. But a lot of times I throw them on a cutting board and I just take them in the house while I get the rest of the meal together 10 minutes before we're ready to eat. And so that's where these are. I've got 2 more steaks grilling on the grill that have a few more minutes, and I'm going to take them up, clear up into the 140s because we have some people that we feed that prefer the medium range for their steaks, and that's where those are going. But anyhow, that's what's happening here on the ranch. If you would like to see more videos with the grill, let me know what you would like to see, and we'll sure get those done for you. As we go into summer here in Montana, it's a little bit warmer outside, and I can actually get out here on the porch and do some filming with the grill. So So I think these steaks are ready to pull off. Let me do that. Looks like they're coming up hot. And like I said, Cowboy Harm likes his steak much more done than the rest of us. So I try to leave one on for him. Let's look at that one. It's gonna come up. Ooh, we're getting smoked out. Oh, we still got a little bit of time. So that's how I test them. I use a thermometer. You can see if you missed that part that I put a thermometer in those steaks, and that's how I tell if they're done. Especially on the smoker grill, because you don't have the charcoal, you don't get the flare up, so you don't get the charcoal marks like you do on a regular propane grill. So I'll pull these off when they hit 140. For Cowboy Harm, I pulled these off at medium rare, which is 130. And if anybody's interested, you can comment in there and I'll come back after the video and I'll put my chart on how I know what temperature corresponds with what type of, how well done you like your meat, whether you like it rare or medium, well done. So that's all I got for you. Give me a comment. We'll do more videos. Let me know what you want to see in the future. I'm Susie Felton. Thanks for watching Mrs. Montana Rancher.
Sweet.
Oh, Jim's gonna, oh, I'm still live, Jim. Come say hi. Oh, Jim's photobombing me. See, I told you that we wouldn't make it off of here without seeing him. I'm trying to turn off and he's jumping on. All right, guys, thanks for watching.
Adios.